Okay.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Solar 101 webinar hosted by the Roseville Utility Exploration Center in partnership with Roseville Electric. My name is Cami Schmerzler and I'm an Interpreted Services Program Lead here at the Utility Exploration Center. For those of you who may not know us, we are part of the utility departments here in Roseville, California. All of our utilities are municipally owned and operated. Those include solid waste, stormwater, wastewater, water, and electric. The Utility Exploration Center is a one-of-a-kind environmental learning center focused on bringing all visitors information on protecting our natural resources. Our topics include energy efficiency, renewable technology, recycling and waste reduction, and water conservation. We offer school programs, events, and our free visitor center, workshops, and webinars, just like this one. Our visitor center is currently open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 4 p.m. I invite all of you to come and explore Roseville utilities with us. Together we can build a sustainable community. Before we launch into our topic today, I wanted to go over a few housekeeping items for this webinar. The webinar is being recorded. The recording will be placed on our website next week, and you can find that at roseville.ca.us/your-home. And you can also find slides, the PowerPoint slides on that same web page. If you have questions during the webinar, you can use the question and answer box, and you can find that box in the upper right-hand corner. Look for a small conversation bubble with a question mark. Click to open the live event question and answer box. And at the bottom of the slide bar, you'll see a question button. Once you click on that, you can type in your question and it will, and you can add your name if you'd like. Otherwise, it shows up as anonymous. We will also collect all of the questions and post them along with the answers on our website. We have Roseville Electric staff on the webinar today who will be monitoring and answering the questions to you. Our presenter today is David Dominguez. David comes to us, he's our trusted solar advisor here in Roseville. He has 8 years in the solar industry and 6+ years with Roseville Electric. Without further ado, I will turn the camera over to David. Are you ready, David?
I sure am. Thank you.
All right.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining Solar 101. I'm David Dominguez, your trusted solar advisor at the Roseville Electric Utility. Our agenda today, we're going to be going through a few things. What's the motivation for you for installing solar? How does solar work? We're going to go through some solar terminology, some financing options, and questions for you to ask your solar contractor when you're ready to take those next steps. So some of the motivation for installing solar can be several reasons. Save money on electricity costs. Yeah, it could do that. You could also reduce your carbon footprint. You can be more green. It may increase your property value. It depends on what kind of contract you're in, and there are also some federal incentives. But basically, the big motivation, I think, for most of us is to reduce our reliance on non-renewable energy sources. So how does solar really work? Well, the technology hasn't changed in 50 years. What has changed is the power the solar produces. So basically, the solar panels on the roof collect the sun, the light. It goes through some wiring and goes through an inverter, which converts the light, which is DC, into AC power that powers your home. Any excess power that you're not using flows back to the grid, and we'll go over that a little bit later because we do offer some paybacks for overproduction for you. So a lot of people ask, will solar fit on my roof? Do I have the right way facing from a roof for solar? The roof space suitable for the panels is often called an array. And they come in different shapes and sizes. You can see from the pictures, they can be rectangular shapes, they can be abstract. Either way, the whole point is to put those in an area on your roof where they gather the most sun for the most time of the day. There is an issue with solar shading and right of way. If you have solar on your home, your neighbors can't plant a big tree next to your house to block the solar. That would not be allowed. There are ideal solar facing directions. It's called azimuth. Typically, ideally, is going to be south, southwest, and east. And depending on your roof condition, you may, excuse me, want to think about maybe redoing your roof prior to installing solar. That just will kind of save an extra step. No sense in installing solar on a roof that needs to be replaced in 5 years. And right now, a lot of solar companies are actually do roofing as well, so you can do both things at once and get it all taken care of. Makes it very, very convenient. So let's take a look at shading. Shading is not a very good friend of solar. As you can see on that picture on the left, there's an array and there's shade going through it. What happens when the shade hits the solar panels, it reduces their efficiency and they don't produce as much energy as without shade, excuse me. There are ways around that. As we go through here, the next slide, we'll be coming along for talk about azimuth and tilt. So as I was saying before, the ideal orientation are west, east, and south. You can see from the diagram, the very good is southwest because it gets the late afternoon suns, and the typical tilt of a panel on your roof is about 20%. And that's an angle that keeps it at a proper angle to the sun so you can get the most light possible throughout the day. So along with the, excuse me, the solar panels, there's two ways of converting the DC power into AC energy. One is through a string inverter and the other is through a microinverter. So a string inverter, as you can see in the blue diagram, all the panels are hooked up together and they go through one central inverter, which converts all that DC power into AC energy. That's the most popular way to do it. I would say if you have shading issues, as we looked at the previous slide, if your shade hits one of those panels, it pretty much knocks off the power of every one of those connected to that string and goes to the inverter. So that's why they came up with a microinverter, which means every solar panel has its own mini microinverter, which means if one of those panels were to say get some shade on it, or that microinverter happened to burn out, all the other panels will still be producing energy. So we're seeing a lot more shift to microinverters as a more common installation now. They are a little more expensive, but then again, reliability is key, and I think for the most part, most solar contractors are leaning that direction. But by no means do you have to, though. Either way, they're both efficient and do the same thing. So some solar terminology, as you end up speaking with different solar contractors, you may hear some of these terms. We will have a list of these on our website. And if you were to go there, we have not only a list of this, but a lot of other solar questions as well. So an array, as we say, is the solar panels that are tied together on the roof structure itself. Azimuth, or you could also call it orientation, is the position on the roof where it's facing north, south, east, or west. The inverter we just spoke about briefly is the device that converts the DC power into AC energy for your homes use in the grid. So there's two types. There's the string inverter and there's the microinverter. And we did briefly touch on tilt and pitch, which is important to get the proper angles for the sun. Well, will you save money by going solar? It depends. A few things you have to understand is the power of our electricity first. So we have two tiers. Tier 1 is 9 cents per kilowatt hour up to 500. Then after that, it goes to 14 cents. A lot of these solar contractors will sell you solar that you buy directly from them, the power it shoots out, and you want to make sure that that's not going to be higher than what you're paying from the utility. And typically, those start around 14 to 16 cents per kilowatt hour. We'll go over that when we get to the PPA contract page. We have to review your historical usage. That's how we size your system correctly. So we ask you to go back 12 months of historical usage. That total would be the maximum allowed for sizing your system. We allow you to size your system up to 100% of your last 12 months of historical usage. You may not need to go 100%. What we like to say is, at least size your system enough to keep you in tier 1 most of the year. That way you're paying the lower end of our tiers. And there's also federal and state credits. Consult your tax advisor. Most of the state credits and federal state tax credits are only if you purchase the system. So please be aware, if you're going into a lease contract or a power purchase agreement, those may not apply to you. So speaking of contracts, we find that the best financing options are to purchase it. That way you get the tax benefits, you start saving from day one and producing energy. It's possible it's better to purchase it outright rather than to finance it. So the reason for that is if you have to finance a purchase, you're going to have a payment per month for that purchase. And that payment may just negate your savings that your solar is providing you on your electric bill. So keep that in mind. A lease is, one of the most marketed type of contracts out there now. We'll put solar on your roof for free, and then each month you just pay us a monthly fee to rent the equipment. Basically, they take care of everything. If it breaks down, they'll take care of it. Any maintenance. So it's very enticing for a lease because it's no out-of-pocket money. But then again, you're going to have a lease payment that may offset your savings from your solar production. So definitely keep that in mind. And then one of the third type of contracts that are popular nowadays are a power purchase agreement. It's similar to the lease where they put everything on your roof for free. There's no out-of-pocket costs. But whatever that solar produces, you buy from the solar contractor or provider at a certain cost per kilowatt hour. So as I said, it may be charging you 12 to 13 cents a kilowatt hour for the solar that you're producing, whereas you'll be buying power from the grid at 9 cents and 14. So it may not be an option where you're saving a lot of money, but all three of these choices, will get you into solar, it'll get you into renewable energy and reduce your carbon footprint. Which one of these works best for you depends on exactly what you're looking for. So there's a lot of myths out there regarding solar. One of the big ones is you'll hear from a lot of salespeople, you'll never have to pay your energy bill again. That's incorrect. Solar only works during the day, and then you're going to be pulling from the grid at night. And there's also going to be basic service charges on your bill that don't go away with solar. Is it too expensive? It depends. There's a lot of good deals out there nowadays. depends on if you're going to go no out of pocket with a lease or a PPA, then you'll have a monthly payment. Does solar require a lot of maintenance? Not really. Typically, the rain during the winter will pretty much wash off all the dirt and dust it collects throughout the summer. Excuse me. Does solar only work on sunny and warm days? No, it doesn't. There's actually there was a study that they compared a hot, warm day in August to a December sunny day in Colorado, and it turns out solar production was actually a little better in the colder climate. The reason why that is, the solar panels don't like to get too warm. There's a reason why they raise them off the roof about 6 inches, that to create airflow to keep the panels cooler. And will solar act as a backup power supply if you lose power? No, actually your inverters need electricity to work. So if the power goes out, your inverters aren't going to work, and then your solar will not generate any power. The only way that would work, if you have a battery backup, then your battery could supply power to your inverters, but then you'd be able to power some portion of your home. So when you end up finally deciding to meet with a contractor, there's quite a few questions you can ask them. You know, we do require that they have a City of Roseville business license. If they do, that's a good sign because they've done work out here before. And I think it's important to find a contractor who's done work out here before than someone who's coming from out of the area. A good thing to ask them is how many systems have they installed? Have they installed many in Roseville in your neighborhood? How long have they been in business? We like to say you should be able to provide references on projects they've done. If they can't do that, then maybe they're not very reputable if they're not willing to provide references. The systems do have warranties. The equipment itself, typically the solar panels have a 20-year warranty and the inverters have a 10-year warranty. The contractors also provide a production guarantee, which means for 20 years they will say the performance, these panels will provide this much energy through 20 years, but there is some degradation. It does kind of teeter off toward the last 3 to 4 years. You'll find it kind of curving down a little bit. You know, contractors do offer a warranty against damage to your roof. That could be for an extra cost. I haven't heard of any contractors causing any roof penetrations that leaks during the winter, but more often than not, they come out and they'll repair them for you. So with what we've been talking about, you know, meet with your solar vendor, meet with a few of them, you know, compare quotes, see what it's going to cost, see what kind of equipment they're going to use. Do you need to use microinverters, or they recommend string inverters? Get all your documents together. They're going to want your 12-month history. They're going to see details on your each month of consumption, so they can base your system on how to size it properly. And then coming up, we're going to have another webinar. We'll go a little deeper into it. It's called a deep dive webinar. We'll get more detailed into how the equipment works, and more information on exactly how we size the system. We have calculator tools that can determine how much a system will produce each month. So we will get into that, and that'll be coming up in a couple of months. You can always visit our website for more information, roseville.ca.us/solar. And you can always contact me. I'm work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. My contact information will be on the next slide. You can call me anytime. I'm sure some of you have already contacted me in the past, and if you have, thank you for doing that. But I do answer my phone, and you can always send me an email with any questions, or just call me on the phone. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. I thank you for attending my webinar and look forward to meeting you again and for another one.
Okay, thank you so much, David, for the informative presentation. And I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today. We did record this webinar and we'll have it up on our webpage next week for you to watch, just in case you missed something in the presentation. Don't forget to go to roseville.ca.us/your-home. We will also send out a survey after this event for everyone to complete. Please take a few minutes to fill it out. This gives us an idea on what worked today, some areas we might be able to improve, and there is a location for you to provide other topics for future webinars, so take advantage of that. Check out our website for more webinar opportunities because we have other ones coming up. You can go to roseville.ca.us/explore to see a list of our upcoming other webinars. Thanks for joining us today and have a great rest of your day. And remember that we will be posting the questions and answers on our website as well. All right, we'll see you later. Thanks for joining us.